I tell people like, when you get clients that like, oh, they don't want to work out sometimes, I'm like, dude, the hardest part is getting in your car and driving to the gym. The hardest part is just kind of opening up your laptop and start like watching a YouTube video on something that's going to benefit you. So open a book and start reading the first couple pages.
Yep.
If you can learn something every single day before you actually go into work,
Yeah.
that's a phenomenal day. You multiply that over a year, you're learning 365 things on the that you didn't know the year before that's going to benefit you on a personal and professional level. And you
Yes.
tell me in 3 years you can't make $100,000 a year for a side hustle and quit your shitty 9 to 5 job. I mean, if you don't like it, uh, you, it's impossible. It is impossible.
Yep. Choice is yours, man.
Yeah.
Oh, we're recording. So let me
Oh shit. Okay.
Yo. Hey, everybody. Welcome to It's More Than Black or White with my fresh new background and my guy, Brian. Brian, how you doing, dude?
Good man. When did you paint that? You painted that, got up early and painted that this morning, right?
I did, man. I just threw some freaking paint up against the wall and splat out.
There it is.
Look at that, man.
Looking good, man.
It's
Looking
an
good.
abstract painting.
Very, very trendy.
Thank you so much, man. I
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
that, man.
Love it.
I appreciate you admiring the work, bro. Bless up,
Yeah.
bless up, man. How you doing today, man?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Feeling blessed, man. Feeling blessed with a lot of gratitude. A lot of good things coming my way. A lot of good things I'm putting out there.
You know what,
So
Brian? What do you think that is, man? Like when a lot of good things come your way like this, man. What do you think is? What do you attribute that to, man?
the feelings I put out there, man. You ever hear of this guy called Neville Goddard?
What?
That's your boy, right? That's your
That's
boy,
my
right?
dude. One of the original Don Dadas of development.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of his books back there that I started reading like 10 years ago. And he just came out with a book. It's called like I forgot what it's called. I literally just ordered it on Amazon today. It's like Feelings First. So like I'm getting this book. So I'm out into Hawaii next week. So I'm doing a 14-hour flight one way. So I need some reading material. So I'm gonna
Bruh,
bang out the book. But that guy was the man. Oh,
dude.
he's like the original. He's like the OG, right?
He
Yeah.
is the OG, man. Him and Earl Nightingale, like
Yeah.
those are the dudes, bro. Like a lot of
Mhm.
people don't recognize. Like when I even talk about a lot of people don't even know who that is, B.
Yeah.
So for people watching this, welcome. And when you're done with this podcast, put in Neville Goddard, listen to some stuff, and best guess what? You know when you can listen to it in the morning because in the morning that's when you get some of the best stuff done. So that's why today, and it's more than black or white. Brian and I are going to bring you into our worlds and we're going to share what we do in the morning as suggestions, as openings. Remember, we are not medical professionals. We speak on these based on our personal experience and also based on our research. So if this is the first time you're coming, welcome. If this is you're returning, welcome back. Thank you for following us. Thank you, man. We got we're at 60. We're in low 60s subscriptions. Let's bump it up to 70. Let's
That's
bump it
it.
up to 70. Come on, people, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell. So every time we come up with some new stuff, you ding, 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 you guys get a ringer, man. You guys get guess what? You get to see what we got first. All right. B, I gotta ask you, bro. Let's kick this off,
Love
man.
it.
When did you first start having a morning routine?
My morning routine started probably when I was probably back in like 2008. I started working with Paul Check. Very on a, and he's the first guy that kind of got me into the holistic level on a holistic level. And while I was doing this stuff, I started reading a lot of autobiographies on people that were well established. They were successful in my eyes, whether it becomes, from like a business standpoint or just overall peace and happiness.
Yeah.
And I was looking because I had a lot of mentors, people I never met before, just people through just books and people I've heard about. So I wanted to read their autobiographies. And all their autobiographies, it always starts off like they're successful because what they do in the first 3 or 4 hours of their day. So there must have been like 100 things that, like I've gotten from all these people, and probably like five or six of them I use pretty close to every single morning, but at least every
Mhm.
week. Three or four definitely every single morning. And then I just try to incorporate what works best for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably about like last 15 years. And I noticed when I started doing that, again, I started getting into Neville Goddard, I started getting into Wayne Dyer,
Yeah.
Earl Nightingale, Andrew, who's the other guy with Think and Grow Rich,
Oh, Napoleon Hill.
I think Napoleon Hill. Like those are the first guys that were like my visualization mentors.
Mm.
And I noticed, man, my world just changed. It changed
Yeah.
drastically and very quickly when I started taking that seriously and being consistent with it. So I
Mm.
would say about 15 years ago, man. 15 years ago, my late 20s.
When you were saying your life was changed, I was singing this genuine song like my whole life has changed since I developed morning routines. You know what song I'm talking about?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So let me so like because I like what you said because that's what started me out on my morning routines too. Like I started really paying attention to the successful people, like even like people that I knew in my life that I perceived as successful. I would ask them, and I remember one of the first guys I can remember vividly asking about this was this guy Mitchell Covington, and he was when I was started working at the Y, like training back in the day, he was one of the like the master instructors, master trainers. And I just noticed he was very intentional and methodical. And I was like, dude, what is it like what's your deal? Like what's like how do you like I think it was like the question was like how do you stay organized? He was like, man, I have a solid morning routine. Like I get up, I drink my water, I meditate, I read, I say what's up to the kids, spend some time with the kids, and then I plan the day. And I was like, oh, junk. So he was very intentional from the door. Then when I started listening to a lot of the deans of development, they all talked about having some sort of morning routine, like having some sort of protocol to like get you set up to win the day. So
Yeah.
when I started really looking into it, I was like, damn, man, this is good. And then like over the years, my morning routine has adjusted. And some of the times, like I'd be like, yo, I'm not doing any morning routine because I was just in a poor state and I experienced the differences. So people today, what we're going to talk, Brian and I are going to dive into some of our personal practices right now and maybe some things that we've done in the past. We're going to talk about some of the benefits and the intention as we're talking to you all about this is, hey, um, maybe there's one, maybe two of these things that you could start doing for your morning routine if you have yet to have a morning routine right now. B, I want to ask you too, like when you started doing the morning routine, what were some of the differences or benefits that you experienced, man?
You know what it was? Like I grew up not having a lot of money. We'll talk about like a mental emotional difference. So I grew up with not having a lot of money. And that was my biggest fear, always not having money. Because I just grew up like my, mom lived, family lived paycheck to paycheck, and I always saw the stress that they had and the struggle that they're under. So it's one thing I never wanted to get into. And so I worked a lot, and but like no matter how much I worked and how hard I worked, I could feel like I could never save money until I
Mm,
started changing my mindset about money. And I learned that from the visualization and meditation and picturing yourself with money,
mm,
having that, not only having a feeling, but, we're just saying it, but having that feeling and seeing yourself with money, looking into the future of what your life would be with money. And when I started doing that, I noticed like I just became very calm. I became very like people just say like, oh, it's going to work out. I know it's going to work out, but I knew it was going to work out.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I
So
do. I do.
yeah, so it brought like this peace on me, and I just became like more loving, more compassionate, more empathetic towards people and towards myself because I knew all my survival needs were going to be met.
Mm.
That makes sense?
It absolutely it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
It changed me. It calmed me down because I grew up very like aggressive, I guess, just for the environment I grew up in, and that just knowing that my survival needs will be met, it calmed me down a lot. It calmed me down and made just gave just a complete 180 when I started learning, like reading with like Neville Goddard and Napoleon Hill and stuff like that. So those are two of my biggest mentors.
B, let's start off. You know what, bro? Thank you so much for that, man. Because what I'm hearing and what you're saying is there's there was a calm and like reinforcement that you kept go layering as
Mhm.
you had your morning routine. And this was really so. This is like the first one, the visualization and meditation, because this is something. By the way, Brian and I, in our prep, we both have our 5 things. Okay, we have 5 things. We may give you all of them, depending if you're nice, but we'll see how it goes. B, let's talk about the first one, which we already started with the visualization and meditation. So, like, I'm a big fan of this. So, like, when I wake up, the first thing I'm doing is I'm taking time to breathe and and visualize. So, for you, like, what is like how are you doing it? Like, for example, like, what's your protocol? Is there a certain amount of time? Like, I'm hearing you like you have a vision, like you're tuning in. Like, what does that look like for you when you're doing it, dude?
Yeah, so I try to put myself in a state where I try to cultivate as much gratitude as I possibly can. That gets me deep into my meditation the quickest out of anything. Like
Okay.
some people just like to kind of be in quiet, but they have all that internal dialogue going on. And being aware of it is important, but it's almost like you want to know it's there, but move away from it and know that's not you. That internal dialogue is not really you. So the quickest way for me to get out of that internal dialogue is to cultivate as much gratitude as I possibly can.
Mm,
So I go down the list. I'm grateful for having, my fiance, who's gonna be my wife in a couple weeks. I'm grateful for having Noah, the my 2 year old, soon to be stepson. I'm grateful for the money that I have. I'm grateful for the health I have, and I just feel it, and like I feel it every vibrating particle in my body, and
mm,
that just gets me deep. That gets me centered. Once I kind of go through that, then I'm like, all right, what do I want out of my life? Next year, like I want to make X amount of money. What would my life, how would my life be just having that X amount of money, not just sitting in my bank? Oh, maybe, I'll buy a house or maybe, I'll live in the vineyards of France for a year. I don't know, whatever it is. Or maybe it's me signing Noah for like a private school where he gets the best education or whatever it could be. And I put myself into that and knowing as I feel myself like signing the checks. I feel myself having this conversation with my girl. I feel me, drinking wine on a cobblestone street in Nice, France, or whatever it is, it's like these are all things I meditate on, I visualize, and then and it's fun, man. It's fun,
yes,
you
dude.
know.
Bro, people, pay attention. Pay
Mhm.
attention. Brian's dropping gems right here. Brian, you know what, brother? This what you're saying is so potent and powerful, especially in the morning. Because what you're talking about, I like this is my stuff right here. I actually have two variations of the meditation visualization in the morning. If I wake up, like for example, before we got on, everybody, I was talking to Brian about this dream I had last night. So a lot of times, like if I wake up from funky dreams, that meditation is more like a thought control session. Like sometimes it's called contemplative prayer, where basically you're watching your thoughts, just like keeping track of my thoughts, like noticing and practicing allowing my thoughts to come and go. Because whenever I have like those funky dreams, I like to take that time to just like allow like whatever, like move transition from the dream state into like the waking state and noticing what thoughts are coming. And I find that a lot of times when I'm in that, when I can be in that space, like I get a lot of ideas and things. So I'll tend to write like immediately after. Like I always go to bed with my journal next to my bed. So usually I'm taking some notes before I go to bed, like, all right, this is gonna happen the next day. Or it's like when I wake up in the morning, I'm writing. Now that's one version. The other version I do is what you do, right? Where it's like I am in it. Like what I'm hearing when I hear you describe it, I think of that as a sensual experience, right? Like you are visualizing the check. Like I have a certain amount that that I visualize or that I envision in my bank account. So like there's times like when I see like I'm visioning, I log into my account, I see that number, I'm happily paying bills. I'm like, yeah, buddy. Oh, jump that trip, yep, I'm gonna get that trip, blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, oh shoot, man, what's that, son? You wanna go to this camp? All right, got you. Where do I send the payment? So it's like I start taking in these feelings of I already have it. I
Yeah.
already have that piece. Along with that, too, is that you said it too, it's like settling into the feeling of it. Like what's the feeling I have when there's no financial stress? What's the feeling I have when there's no emotional stress, right? Like no mental stress. And like I just settle into that feeling. Sometimes it's uncomfortable because I'm like, what the heck is this? But
Yeah.
that's the point, right? Like I can start to envision that and notice what that feels like. So now it is real, right? That's the power of the visualization and meditation. People think, okay, I'm just gonna sit and breathe. No, man, like this is a potent, powerful time where you can create things and people and B. I think you and I talked about this at some point. The brain has no idea what's real.
Yeah. We talked
So
about this in our quantum physics
that's
episode.
right. I knew we talked
Yeah.
about it in one of the
Yeah.
episodes,
And like
bro. I
this is
knew it.
like all science, man. Like this is quantum physics. This is science,
Brother.
you know.
Yep.
It's not so no airy fairy stuff. Like
No, no. And this is listen, when you talked before about the Dean of developments, all these cats like Earl Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, Neville Goddard. More recently, Joe Dispenza. They're talking about this. I remember like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. He reinforced what I was reading in Napoleon Hill. Like, yo, man, you got to create new environments. You got to spark new brain waves, new neurons and stuff. So I'm like, what? Like,
yeah.
dang. Yeah. So anyway, so listen, people, that's your first one, right? That's an option for when you wake up in the morning, visualization and or meditation or a collection or combination of the two. B, what's another one you got? Then I'm gonna say one.
I'm big on nutrition. As we if you listen to this podcast for a while, you know that eat according to your metabolic type. So we talked about in episode 2 what your metabolic type could possibly be. We have a little questionnaire on the bottom of it too. So you're either a protein type, you're a mixed type, or you're a carb type. And everybody eats basically like macros. Everyone's heard your carbs, your proteins, your fat, but everyone's body's different on the inside, just like it is on the outside. So
Mm,
you're same as your DNA as it was, say, 40 to 70,000 years ago, with very little change in your genome. So you should be eating just like your ancestors ate. So I'll give you like an extreme example, like, you have an Eskimo that, comes in for me and like wants some nutritional advice. They eat predominantly 90% fat and protein, right? If I would start giving them berries and salads and, put them on a vegan diet, they would start coming down with all these metabolic diseases. You're the wrong type of fuel for their body.
yeah,
Now, I have one of my best friends, Anderson. He's from Brazil. His ancestors grew up really in the hot areas by the equator. So meats tend to migrate north and south. So if I would start giving him so they rely on a lot of vegetation, not a lot of meat. So if I started putting him on the carnivore diet, he would start coming down with these metabolic diseases, probably put on a little body fat, get all these metabolic syndromes and everything like that. So he does better on a more of a plant-based diet, more on a carbohydrate diet.
yeah,
So the trick is to kind of learn where your macros are based on your individual needs, which is based on your DNA and your genome. So we have a test that, well, it's not our test. A guy named William Walcott, who wrote the metabolic typing diet, has a little bit of a questionnaire we can kind of look and see if you're a protein, carbohydrate, or you're a mixed type. So I'm a protein type. So I try to eat according to my metabolic type pretty much almost every meal. So in the morning, a lot of fat, a lot of protein, not a lot of carbs in my diet. That's the way I lean up quick and I have better cognitive thinking because I've just been doing it for so long. I know.
yeah,
And it teaches you, if you eat wrong, your body starts having these like short-term responses. So you might feel a little bit like for example, if you feel like lethargic, moody, depressed, usually you put too much fat and protein in that particular meal for your metabolic type. If you're feeling wired but tired, jittery, a little bit of ADD, you're not satisfied, meaning you can eat like, 20 minutes later, you put too much carbs in your diet for that particular meal, not enough fat and protein. So it teaches you kind of how to fine tune it. So just doing this for like 20 years, I know exactly where I need to be. So I
Right.
try to eat as much as I love oatmeal, it just destroys me in the morning. Like, you know,
Absolutely.
I love it. I love the sweet stuff, but like my brain, I get brain fog. I just get sluggish, and
Mm.
it's very hard for me to be motivated and get anything done after about maybe a half hour eating that. So
Oh,
handful of
same
nuts
thing.
or like something like omelet in the morning. So I try to do again, I try to eat according to my metabolic type. And again, check out episode 2, the questionnaire for you guys there. It'll teach you a little bit about yourself.
Man, thank you for that. Because when you said, yeah, it destroys you, I was thinking that it was giving you bubble guts and shit, man. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, damn, man. Brian's like, ah, ah. I gotta go. Oh, I gotta go. I think that's great. I like that idea of like, really eating based on your type. Like, because I took the metabolic. I'm the I keep forgetting the term, but I'm the combo. I'm
Like
the
mixed type.
a mixed type, yeah. But I gotta
Yeah,
tell, we'll get into this another time. But I've been drawn lately, be like to go more plant based. I have no idea
yeah.
why. Like I just like I try to eat meat, and I'm just like, eh. Anyway,
It's funny. You just had a journey. So after I'm doing my journeys,
yeah,
I don't really want to eat that much meat. I don't want to drink alcohol. Like, not that I drink a lot of alcohol, like, to
yeah,
begin with, like, a couple glasses of wine every week. That's my alcohol consumption. But like after doing like a journey, like what you did with a psychedelic journey,
yeah.
like I don't really want to eat meat, even if it's like organic, or I don't want to drink alcohol. It's like my spirit or my soul being like, here, you know, take a break.
Dude, I never thought about that, man.
Yeah. I've done ayahuasca, I've done 5 times. I've done mushrooms after like doing like heavy doses of that stuff. Like, yeah, I don't want to put that stuff in my body for whatever reason. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank
Yeah. I
man,
don't crave it at all. Yeah.
you just
Something
connect
something to
the
look
dots.
into, something to meditate on there, buddy.
Yeah, bro. Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, I had some like the other day I made some chicken. I was like, yo, I can't even eat this, bro. I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
anyway,
almost like this, it's like
I,
disgusting, right? Like
yeah,
disgusting. You're like, oh,
dude.
yeah.
It was chicken thighs, right? So
Yeah.
like the bone, I was just like, what the bro? It
Mhm.
just didn't sit right with me at all, man. I was like, I found myself like I've been eating beans and rice and like just like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Veggies like broccoli. Anyway, thank you for that. So that's your two. My
Hmm.
two, right? Or my second thing, yoga, man. Got to move in the morning. So for me, it's not like I do some major yoga class like for 45 minutes. I do something called the sun salutation. So the sun salutation is basically a series of different poses that get to open up the body, like open up the different joints. So the great thing about it is like as I go through these different poses, it's just like I get to breathe and like I find myself like kind of moving around my body, like checking in, giving thanks for my body. Like, okay, what's up, ankle? Ooh, left hand, you a little tight today. All right. So it's like it's like a morning movement. So it's like the my intention with that be is I want to feel my body, right? I want to know like, hey, what's going on? Like just check in with it. Even if like I don't get exercise or I fail to get exercise for the day, like I know me having that check-in in the morning is so important for me just to feel myself, right? Just like to like, okay, being on my hands and knees, stretching, moving, like kind of like moving my rib cage. And it's really interesting. So there is something I added to this. Like I found this thing, this morning flow. This guy I like a lot. This guy, Dr. Perry Nicholstein. He does like lymphatic drainage and like movement. So he has this morning flow. It's like 10 minutes. And it's just like, tapping and rubbing and then like, all these things and then like, doing qigong shit. But I
Yeah.
love it because like I gets my heart rate up, like I get to breathe, I get to like, especially after doing the meditation and coming to do this, it's just such a welcome thing in the morning. And it also helps me wake up because like afterwards I go in the shower, but like Like just being able to do that sun salutation and move my joints and see just where I am, huge,
How long
huge.
do you do it for? How long does it
Usually
take
like
you?
usually like 5 minutes, man.
Oh
Like
shit.
yeah, dude, like 5, 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes if I'm just staying in a pose. Like if something feels like real freaking delicious and good, I'm like, yo, let me just ooh, and I'm just like kind of move around, like just turn, breathe,
Yeah.
and it's great, man. It's
Do
great.
you do your own routine, or you follow that guy?
Oh, for the morning flow, I follow him.
Is there
But
like a link that
yeah,
that he?
yeah, bro.
Oh,
Yo, I'll
yeah,
send you a
drop a
link,
link in there, man.
bruh. And yo,
Yeah,
I think you'll dig it because like
yeah.
I used to connect with this guy a long time ago through my friend Full Fitness. So he did a lot of workshops, and he's like, it's actually interesting. He reminds me a lot of you, right? Because he's like he's very passionate. He gives a shit. He cares, and he researches and he integrates knowledge.
Mhm.
So he's been doing that for years. He goes and does tour like workshops all over the globe, man. And he does a lot of the lymphatic drainage and joint complexes and traumas. I'm like, he's on a whole nother level. So yeah, we'll drop that in the show notes for you cats, man. So
Love
you
it,
can go freaking do that. But movement in the morning, boom, bit. That's my second. That's my
love
second.
it,
What you got
love
for
it.
us now? What's another one you got?
Spend an hour learning something that will benefit you on a personal or professional level. You know, so for me, it's always about making money because money for me gives me freedom to kind of do whatever I want.
Bless
I
up.
like I like having that freedom. I don't need to make a crazy amount of money. I don't need to make millions of dollars a year,
Yeah.
but I need enough where like I can kind of support me and my family. And for me, like it's important to have my freedom to come and go wherever I want, travel wherever I want. And for me, like I like setting up like e-commerce businesses and buying e-commerce business because I can do that anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Like somebody
Yup.
can call me up and be like, "Hey, I'll be in Thailand tomorrow." I'm like, "All right, got to check in with the wifey now, but I can easily
Yeah.
book a ticket and fly out there and do all my work out there. I don't need to ask my boss. I don't need to, move around clients or anything like that. I can just kind of go out there. So learning an hour in my field every single day, or just like learning a little bit about myself, maybe like read something on psychology. It's super important. And I think like most people, like I would say 99.9% of people, they want to be financially free,
Yeah.
and you don't really need a lot of money to be financially free. Most people that I talk to, I'm like, hey, write down everything that you want. And it comes to be probably less than 10,000 or less than $10,000 a month.
Exactly,
So
bro.
but I'm like, then what are you doing to get there? And they give me excuses all the time. Well, I got kids, I got work, I got this, I got that, I got that. And I was meditating on this the other day, and I was like, if somebody sat in front of me like and gave me all those excuses, and I would say, hey, listen, wake up 1 hour a day early, or find an hour every single day to do something that's going to benefit you in the long run. I'll deposit $10,000 in your bank account every
Mm.
single month. But the trick is you can't touch that money for
Yeah.
3 years. How many people do you think would do that? I think everyone would do it because they know that money's coming in. But there's not a doubt in my mind. Like I am not by far like everybody's like, oh, you're really smart, you're really intelligent. I'm like, I'm no different than anyone else out there. I had this conversation with somebody last. Remember we had my podcast last week. My class rank was 258 out of 265. Like
Right.
I'm not smart. Like it takes me a long time to comprehend things, but I'm just very determined at what I do. So,
Yes.
it's where was I getting at? I'm just basic. I forgot where kind of lost my train of thought there.
No, what where you're going with that is you being able to, well, I think you're going with that. It was like you being able to take that time, like there's no
Yeah.
excuses because you can
Yeah,
still learn. Yeah.
exactly. So like why aren't you doing that? If because like if I'm putting $10,000 in your bank every month for doing it, why aren't you doing that now? Because again, that's where I was kind of going for. Like I'm no not smarter than anyone else out there. I'm just more determined. And after 3 years, you should
Right.
easily make $10,000 a month if you're donating that time in there. So what's your excuse? But most people are like, oh, I don't have time. And first thing I always tell them, like, give me your phone. And I
Yeah.
look at their phone, and I see how many hours or a week they're on their phone. I'm like, dude, like you have plenty of time. But
Yep.
they sit there and talk about like, their Netflix, their, keeping up with the Kardashians. They're watching, 8 hours of football every Sunday, but they're not happy where they want to be. I'm like,
Right.
you gotta
There's
figure
something.
out what's important in your life.
So, man, dude, this is so important, man, because if someone really, it's a matter of effort, man. It's a
Yes.
matter of effort. Is if you want it, because like I think that's what I'm thinking back. You and I started talking about this. It had to be almost 4 years ago. And actually, I know like I started really looking into like what am I learning, right? Like I would usually listen to some YouTube videos like one of my things was Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. Like I had that like after I did my meditation and yoga. Like I would go around like brushing my teeth and like, washing dishes or cleaning a little bit while I'm listening to it. So it's just like programming, right? And what I'm hearing you say is like you get intentional with what you want to learn, right? So question I have for you is like how do you set that up? Like is it
Yeah.
that
So like for me, it's like anyone can be motivated at any time.
right,
But the motivation runs dry very quickly. You got to be disciplined.
yeah,
And for me, there's certain mornings I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do shit,
yeah, yeah,
but that fear of not having money, it trumps everything else. So for me, it's like my why is so much stronger than not wanting to do something.
right,
So I force myself to do something. And it's just like I tell people, like, when you get clients that like, oh, they don't want to work out sometimes. I'm like, dude, the hardest part is getting in your car and driving to the gym. The hardest part is just kind of opening up your laptop and start like watching a YouTube video on something that's going to benefit you. Just open a book and start reading the first couple pages.
yep,
If you can learn something every single day before you actually go into work,
yeah,
that's a phenomenal day. You multiply that over a year, you're learning 365 things on the that you didn't know the year before that's going to benefit you on a personal and professional level. And you
yes,
tell me in 3 years you can't make $100,000 a year for a side hustle and quit your shitty 9 to 5 job. I mean, if you don't like it, that you, it's impossible. It is impossible.
yep. Choice is yours, man. Choice is yours. And what you do is like what is I have this on my list as building learning, right? Because I don't know who said this, and I know you said this before too, but anything you want to know is out there.
Yeah,
Whether it's a book, whether it's a YouTube video, bless up to YouTube because there's like everything on there now.
yeah,
But anything you want to learn is out there for you. Someone's done it, someone's written about it, someone's spoken about it. So go find it. I find
yeah,
like for me, it's like because right now I'm in this space of studies, right? Like I'm looking to study things. So I'm looking to learn. So my biggest thing right now is every morning I'm reading or learning something about, well, right now it's hermeticism and like with a tint of things about light bodies. Why is that, Paul? Well, like I like to learn the universal laws. Like I'm practicing learning universal laws. Then how does that apply to my visualization to riches, to my visualization to happiness and joy and bliss? Now it's like okay, and part of that is it leads me to other things like I've been listening to Dave Ramsey, right? Like just
yeah,
listening to his things, just like programming about the finances. And I noticed like as I've been listening to financial material, like even Dennis Kimbrough, like and there's another guy, I can't, his name is escaping me. um Damn, his name is escaping me, this other dude, but like either way, like they talk about mindset, finances, the work to get there. So like talking about budgeting and even just like little things like that, hearing different people talk about like budgeting. Another thing I'm like really tuned in right now is marketing and sales. Like
yeah,
what are these things? So every morning I get the sense like, and I'm saying this to people watching, your mind is a fertile space in the morning and your body. So if you're taking the time and it's like tilling the soil. If you're tilling the soil and like, okay, like I'm just gonna keep, it may be boring, it may be like, oh man, but like put something on, like you say, Brian, put a video on, Bust
Yeah.
out your notepad. What resonates with you? Take 5 minutes afterwards, 5, 10 minutes afterwards. What did you just hear?
Yeah.
What did you just learn, man?
And I feel like it's important what you said, how it mixes with the visualization. So for me, it's like if you have an end goal
Yeah,
and you see yourself at that end goal, like don't worry about the hows. People get too caught up on the hows and the analytics of it.
yeah.
They try to make too much logic in an illogical universe. You
Yes,
know,
yes, yes.
focus on the end goal, do something, have action behind it. Even if you don't know what the hell you're doing, have action that's work closer to that goal. Because every step you take closer to that goal, the universe is bringing that goal one step closer to you. And even if you feel like you're not getting anywhere,
You are.
you're gonna have a dream one day. You wake up, you're gonna have a spark, and something's all like a light bulb is gonna go off in your head. That's the universe signaling you like, all right, you're on the right path, keep going, keep going. So put some action behind that. Don't worry about all the hows and being an entrepreneur, man. It's like, trust me, man. Even Paul, it's like it's hills and valleys, man. It's like somebody I once read a quote. It's like, jumping out of an airplane trying to figure out how to assemble a parachute on the way down,
You're like, yo, do I stall right here?
yeah,
Did you
while you're
stall
dropping
right
at
here?
120 miles an hour.
Bruh. Yeah, man, dude.
Yeah.
That's some serious business, bro. That's some serious business.
Yeah.
I think it's so important because one of the things like I'm studying, like I'm integrating now is frequency. And
Okay.
I think it's how I see this in what we're talking about here with the learning is that every time I input something that's along the lines of what I want to learn or what I want to achieve, I'm shifting my frequency. So while, like you said, like people, it may seem like nothing's happening, something's happening because you will all of a sudden hear that advice. Remember the dream. A book will magically come in your way because again, you're attracting it rather than like going after it. So this is big, people. Remember this, man. This is about this building and learning. Like this is part of you shifting your frequency and going from there, man.
Yeah.
Hey, what's another one, man? We'll give one more each, and then maybe a bonus. But like, what's another one you would say, bro?
For me, I make sure all my meals are prepped for the day, man. I, I don't want to get
Mm.
stuck anywhere where I got to make a bad decision where I'm eating like, shitty calories or foods that have really bad ingredients in it. So I just don't want to get bloated and have indigestion. And, I just want to be consistent with my food as much as I can, which is going to keep up with a solid circadian rhythm.
Yeah,
I want everything to be just very constant, clean foods, eating according to my metabolic type. So I make sure my meals are all prepped out either the night before
yeah,
or that morning. And usually I make them that morning fresh while I'm cooking my breakfast. And I can't I have it down to a science where it takes me no more than 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes to cook all my foods. For the
nice.
people's like, I don't have time to sit there and be on a stove all day and cook my look, no, no, you're just not efficient with your time. You're not efficient with your cooking. And there's so again, there's so many YouTube videos on it, how quick and easy you can do it. And it's so much cheaper too, man. So much cheaper than, you go out to eat. Not that I eat this a lot, man. I had Chick-fil-A maybe like it still bothers me. I had Chick-fil-A maybe like I'm sorry, not Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, maybe
Okay.
like 4 or 5 months ago. And
Yeah.
I was just starving. I was like on my way. I had to go out and I couldn't stop home. I had to go somewhere else. I got a burrito. And that thing cost me fucking $17 for a burrito. And that food, man, I was fucked up for like 3 days.
Bro,
And like that food, that quality is just trash. Everyone's like, oh, it's so
trash.
healthy.
Fast
Trash.
food. It's
That
fast food,
quality of
bro.
food, man, I probably had probably like 2 servings of glyphosate with my food, like
with a side of
yeah,
fries.
my
I
body was like,
got
"What the hell are you doing to me, man?" When you eat clean for a long time, and then you go out and you put something like that in your system, man. Your
dude.
body's like, "What the hell is this?" I'm going to teach you a lesson, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. It's like
You
get
know?
your ass on the toilet. We're about to see some
Yeah,
things. Oh
yeah.
fuck, man. Yeah,
But yeah, so I
dude.
try not to. I try to have everything planned out for the day, and so I don't make any bad decisions, and it keeps my metabolism good. It keeps me lean,
Yeah.
and it just has good mental clarity. Because when I go off it, like if I have a cheat meal or like a cheat meal, like I just feel like shit. I feel like absolute crap. My whole intestinal tract is jacked up for days, and I just feel like, I just feel like crap. You know,
Yeah,
feel
dude.
sluggish.
Uh, man, I'm gonna take that one on. I'm gonna take that one on, man, because I've been getting better with bringing my lunch in,
Mhm.
and there's still sometimes I can tighten that piece up, man, because like I like working in Montclair, it's just like, man, listen, I'm just gonna get this like cup of rice. All right, man, that's $17. Like what? Well, it's a cup of
Yeah.
rice, right? You know, so it's like, and it's expensive, man. Especially when I was talking before about budgeting, like it's being able to be mindful, very mindful of this thing. Especially when I look at my budget, like throughout the week, like, all right, this is spent, like this is where I am, like, I'm spending a little bit too much this week so far. Man, cut that shit down, cut that shit down,
Mhm.
and that actually feeds into my next, into one of mine, which is planning and achievement. So for me, every morning I look at like on Sundays. That's where I lay out what I'm set out to do for the week. So in the mornings each day, like I'm able to go in and be like, okay, what is it that I'm going to address today? What am I going to go attack? Like, okay, this is going to get done today. Because now it's like, okay, my mind is focused on like, all right, this is, and like I got a bunch of stuff on the list, but it's not like I'm trying to address the whole list. It's like, okay, that one right there, I'm getting that shit done today. And
Yeah.
that helps me like to really hone in. It also helps me practice on winning the day, and it also gets me to see when I'm on some bullshit. Because if I set out to get something done and then I notice at the end of the day, like, damn, I didn't do that. If I put it on the next day, end of the day, I didn't get it done. Damn, I didn't do that. Okay, what's going on?
Yeah, I make sometimes like a list of like two or three things I want to accomplish the next day, and I always
Yeah.
knock out the probably the first thing I always knock out the one I want to do the least. Just get it done.
Mm,
I I've always been a
intentionals.
person. I always like to do the hardest thing first, and just get it out of the way, and I then from there I can kind of coast in. People like to take the easy stuff, and I was like keep putting off, but knowing that for me personally, having that thing in the back of my mind that is going to just keep eating at me the whole day, whether I got to have a difficult conversation with somebody or I gotta figure out how to pay a bill or whatever it is. I always try to do the one I hate the most first thing in the morning and just get it done with. Because my mind, I can't fully be involved into something knowing that that's on the back of my mind. You know what I mean?
Yup, I know exactly what you mean because you're
Yeah.
distracted. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, as soon as you knock it out, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
damn, why the hell did that take me so long?
Yeah.
That's
Rest of
like,
the day is gonna be
that's,
nice.
what's that?
Rest of the day is gonna be nice now.
Bruh, you get
Yeah.
the hardest thing done first, man.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, let's get it over with. Like, yo, this like, especially like, the stuff going on with the courts and stuff. Like, I'm like, okay, today I'm following up on this.
Hmm.
Follow up on it first thing in the morning. Okay, cool, man. Let me get this over with. And there's a lightness about it, like you say, right? When I do the hardest thing, especially when I notice, like, okay, I procrastinated on this for a couple days. What
Hmm.
the, what's really going on? Then when I go do it, I'm like, dude, that felt great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing I love about these types of morning routines because I think the overarching reason why we're doing this podcast, people, is we're focused on supporting you and having optimal health and well-being. Part of that is starting your day right. And if you're like, I don't know, guys, I want you to take a moment and think about this. When you've had a start to your day, whether it's like you're locked in, you're focused, whether you have a meeting, you're like, okay, this is what's gonna happen. Maybe you eat a great breakfast. What's your day like? Okay. Now compare that was when you don't do shit. You wake up late. Oh, you had some drinks the night before. Maybe you smoked a freaking joint. You're like, yo, man, you wake up groggy. You wake up a little late. You hit the snooze like 7 times. Then you get up. You're like, oh, junk, man. I got to get in the shower. I got to leave my house in 5 minutes. Now you're rushing. It's almost, I'm going to speak for myself. Whenever I've had those mornings, it's like now I'm playing from behind and my day is shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, B? It's
Yeah.
like, damn, what am I doing? Right?
Yeah. It's almost like you miss a day out on improving yourself and getting to that next level. And that for me is like the worst. Like I mean,
Yes.
I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, where I wake up 3 hours before my first client, and I always try to get something accomplished. If I have to rush out the door, like there's days where I'll wake up and I'm like, all right, I'm good. And my client's like, oh, I'll be there in 20 minutes. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I had you. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
run out the door real quick, you know? And it's
yeah.
like, I don't get what I need to get done in the morning. My whole day's like, ugh, like I just wasted my morning, man. You know?
Hey, B, let me ask you though, like, so when you have days like that, do
Hmm.
you have a space in the day where you can go and recalibrate?
I'll make a space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll make a space. I
Yep.
don't, whatever it is, I'll figure something out, you
Yeah.
know, and whether it's like I'm like, all right, I got an hour drive home, I'm gonna listen to this YouTube video on, whatever it is, or I'm gonna learn how to market through a YouTube video, or I'm gonna spend a half hour later before I go to bed and read something or whatever like that, or just focus on
Yes.
something. Yeah, but I'll never go there. Even when I'm on vacation, I
Right.
wake up before the girl or I wake up before my buddies and I'll get shit done. Like I just can't. I have to do something,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, man. That's see. So I'm so happy you said that because listen, people. The reason why I asked Brian that is because we're offering some things. These are things that we do, right? This helps. Brian, I'm going to speak for you because I think this is for you too. This helps ground and set my intentions in the morning. This helps to ensure that I make the most of the day and I'm also continuing on my trajectory of growth. Okay. So the reason why I asked Brian about what happens if you miss is because listen, people, you're going to take on a practice or two. You may miss a day, you may miss a morning. Take the opportunity to reclaim it. Okay. Reclaim your balance, reclaim your grounding. Take that opportunity. If you missed, you woke up late, cool. Take 10 minutes,
Hmm.
5 minutes. Take one of your non-negotiables. And when I say non-negotiables, like Brian and I have these things that we do, and there's like a couple more things that each of us does. Each of us does, right?
Yeah.
My challenge and my invitation to everybody watching B is pick one or two things that you're going to do in the morning. Do them for 30 days. All right. 30 days. Notice what happens. And be intentional. Like you could take one of
Yeah.
the things that Brian and I laid out for you. You can create something different. Like one of my things is connected with nature. I just got some new plant babies. So like, in the morning time after I do my stuff, I'm going to be like, yo, baby, how you doing? Oh, you need some water? Look at you, man. I wipe them off, man. Wipe the dust off. I caress them and stuff. And like, bro, it's like my time to really check in, bro. You know,
Yeah, man.
yeah. So I'm saying this as an example because each person's got something different. Each person wants something that they want to get done for themselves to help them be their best selves. So, what is that thing for you? What is that thing for you? And are you committed? Are you willing to take the opportunity to be like, oh man, you know what? Let me try this for 30 days and see what happens because you're worth it. You're worth it, people. All right. That's what,
100%.
that's what I got to say. B, anything else? Like, did I miss anything or did you want to share a bonus? How are you feeling right
One of the bonuses that I would share was like, I love my coffee. I wake up
now?
every morning and I have organic coffee. I don't drink anything because the coffee bean is the most heavily pesticide crop in the world.
I've heard that.
So I
Yeah.
try not to do anything that's non-organic. So I bought my organic coffee, and before I drink that, I do hot water with cayenne pepper. I do with lemon. I do with curcumin,
Okay.
and I do with what else I do? Sea salt. So the cayenne pepper that improves blood flow, digestion, lowers blood pressure, boosts metabolism, curbs hunger. Lemon helps with digestion and aids in like a liver detox.
Yeah.
Sea salt, what it does, it balances actually potassium and calcium levels in your body, which is good for neurological health, and it raises your HCl so your body can break down fats and protein a lot easier. And turmeric, which is it basically increases metabolism and reduces inflammation. And curcumin, which is the active ingredient, which is in turmeric. So I do that to kind of like almost like kickstart my day
Yeah.
and thank my liver for what I did do it in my early 20s, and I'm glad it's still
Ah, I love this, dude. Okay, so it's turmeric, cayenne pepper, sea salt, lemon,
in lemon.
hot water.
Yeah. And what, yeah, like hot water. Yep. And I just kind of like, or warm water and I just kind of pound that. Maybe I have a bottle of water most of the time, so I try to get at least half my body weight in ounces of water a day,
Yeah.
and I stir it. Remember, we were trying to fix that molecular structure. People that don't know what we're talking about, go back to our one of the episodes we talk about water,
Hydration.
and then I'll have like a cup of coffee, and I'll sit there and I'll enjoy that.
Mm,
You know,
that coffee must taste real good too, man.
yeah, coffee's good.
Yeah.
Coffee's good. Yeah,
Coffee's become like a practice.
yeah,
It's like, all
yeah.
right, you know what? I'm gonna sit, like slow sit. And I find myself in this position. I'm just like sitting, like looking at my the day ahead. I'm like, I'm gonna get
Hmm.
that today.
Yeah, and I drink a lot of coffee from around the world. So every time when I go, I do a lot of traveling. So I'll bring coffee back from like, Thailand. I'll bring coffee back from like, the Middle East. I'll bring it whatever. And I'll drink that for like 2 or 3 months. I'll get enough coffee in my suitcase. I keep an extra spot in my suitcase just for coffee that I bring back.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I
So,
dig how you live your life, man.
yeah.
So
So,
freaking cool. What?
so
Brother, you're a blessing, man. You're a blessing. And you know who else is a blessing? Our watchers. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We so appreciate you. Listen, go back, watch this, and make sure I probably could have said this in the beginning, and I'm going to say it now. Maybe go back again, take your notepad out, and as we're sharing things that we do in the morning, think about what's coming up for you. What are some things that you want to do in the morning that's going to help you get grounded, that's going to help you stay on point, stay on target, stay on task, stay on purpose? All right. This
yeah,
is what
Paul and
yeah.
I want to know what you guys do in the morning, man. Drop it in the comments. I'm open. We're all students of the game of life, and
Yes.
we want to learn as much as possible. So help us out, man.
Great call, B. Yeah, because I'm curious too. Like I'm open to
Yeah,
some new stuff, man.
yeah.
I'm open to some new stuff, man. I look,
Paul,
man.
drop that salutation in there, man. I want to know what that is. I want
Oh
to
yeah,
start
dude. Okay,
incorporating that.
sun salutation and
Yeah,
B. I'm gonna share the morning flow with you, bro.
love it.
I want to see what happens for you because every time I do this, I'm like, yo,
Yeah, I need to work on my flexibility.
oh, bruh. Okay, I'm sending you the sun sally. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Right.
It's a wrap. Peace, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. It's more than black or white. White. Like, share, subscribe. Talk to your friends about it. Hit the bell so whenever you get that new, we ever have dropped that new episode on Wednesdays, you get the ding ding and then you come watch the episode. All right. Peace, everybody. Until next week.